We are now, we'll be joined by a Brexit MP. If we watch, as we swap over, there we go. We've got Steve Baker here. Thank you so much for joining us. This is all, as I said earlier in the programme, a fluid sort of a programme, so thank you very much for arriving so promptly. Where do you think what happened tonight leaves Brexit?
Well, I think tonight, once again, we've seen that trade policy is complicated and that members of Parliament don't perfectly understand it. Anna Soubry, I saw, stood up and said that she couldn't vote for the customs union because the proposition didn't include high regulatory alignment. And, of course, she was right on that point. Without high regulatory alignment, a customs union alone doesn't solve the border issues. But, you know, this is why Eurosceptics keep writing down and publishing what we want, because we're very clear, we've studied it, we've taken expert advice, we've worked through the issues of the Irish border, and we keep writing down and publishing what we want. But unfortunately, when we have tabled relevant amendments, they haven't been selected. So I'm afraid this has been a very frustrating process, but I confess I'm rather glad that the House of Commons once again has concluded nothing.
But what do you think it means in terms of what happens next?
I think it means that when the Cabinet meet tomorrow, they've got some very hard choices to make. They face a choice between no deal and no Brexit, unless they can go to this forthcoming European Council and table the legal text of the kind of changes which I and others have been setting out. So, for example, you need to do what the Brady Amendment said, replace the backstop with alternative arrangements. Happily, the EU and the UK have already agreed a negotiating track on just that. Limit the length of the implementation period so that we get out of it and become an independent country. And the third thing is to take out all references to a single customs territory, which is a customs union, from the political declaration. There are some other things I could suggest, but if those three things were done, then I would think it was still possible, even now, to conclude a withdrawal agreement and to move forward smoothly through a transition. Not all of my colleagues would vote for it, but if the things which I've just described were done, then I would very much expect that I would be voting for an agreement.
And you mention the meeting tomorrow of the Cabinet. What are you going to say? What are you saying to your Brexit colleagues in the Cabinet? I mean, are you saying if Theresa May moves and tries to make it a softer Brexit, they should resign?
Look, at this point, it's extremely important that we preserve the stability of the government insofar as we can. As the Chief Whip was saying to a Laura Kuenssberg documentary earlier, we've had historic levels of indiscipline in the Cabinet. I think it would be far for the best if Cabinet members looked at the manifesto on which we stood, the mandate of the referendum, and delivered Brexit. Now, I'm clear what I would do. I would go to that council and suggest concrete text of legal changes necessary to fix the withdrawal agreement and then leave smoothly. But if the EU won't move, then it will be necessary to move out of the European Union with no withdrawal agreement.
And you do, as I understand it, want no deal. Theresa May has ruled that out. So many people we've spoken to already tonight have said, well, no deal's off the table. What's your strategy to get no deal?
Well, no, let me be absolutely clear about this. Time and again, I've been irritated with the media for suggesting I want no deal. I have been campaigning consistently for a deal of the kind the European Union offered us in March last year. It's a deal of the kind which matched what the DEXEU ministers, when I was a minister, agreed we should have. I want a deal. I want a deal of the kind we've been offered. This is a moderate position.
But we're not getting a deal.
Well, this is a moderate position.
None of you will vote for a deal.
The reason that we're not getting a deal of the kind we were offered is, of course, because Theresa May and the Cabinet Office Europe unit overrode DEXEU ministers' decision. So we are where we are. Now that we're here, what I would like to see happen is the withdrawal agreement fixed at this coming council and for us to leave through a corrected withdrawal agreement. But if that is not possible, then the Cabinet tomorrow needs to take a hard decision about whether they're going to deliver no deal or no Brexit. But as I say, I know what I would do. I would go to the council with concrete text of the changes necessary to the withdrawal agreement, and I would ask them, even at this late moment, to agree change so we could leave with an agreement.
And last time they held these indicative votes last week, you talked about bulldozing Parliament and called some of your colleagues fools, knaves and cowards. Do you think that kind of rhetoric has helped your cause?
Well, of course, that was a private set of remarks to my colleagues in Parliament here. I was asked what I thought, and it was a speech made in a spirit of thoroughgoing fury that our country is being so badly let down by members of Parliament who clearly don't know what they're voting for altogether too often.
Stephen Baker, thank you so much for joining us.